I cannot believe it is the end of June. I almost let the entire month go by without giving you a June garden tour. Hello, my name is Andrea and I garden in a community garden plot about 15 minutes away from my home. It is the end of June and I am headed to Ohio to visit my mom. I'll be away from the garden for an entire week, so before I leave, I thought I would show you what's growing in the garden in June. Yeah, I mean, it is hot, and I hate to leave the garden when it's this hot, but luckily I've made a couple of friends. Some people are gonna look out for me. I love that I'm making this video now because I'll be able to kind of look back over the week and say, this is how I left things and this is where things are now. So let me show you what's growing in the garden. All right, so we'll start over here on the raised bed container side of the garden. I haven't watered yet. Like I said, it's 100 degrees, so as you can imagine, things are looking pretty dry over here. But in here we have some cucumber growing. I'm imagining that I'll get one strong one. I'm not sure if both of those are going to produce because they are looking a little light. I recently moved my lemon tree to the front because I was getting flowers but no fruit. We'll see how that goes, but this is the lemon tree. And over here, the sweet potato slips are still going strong. I dumped some soil in them when I was here the last time because the soil was looking a little low. And I'll spread that out and I'll probably put a little bit more in here before I leave. I'm really happy because the slips are turning green. They were a little reddish, but they are greening, which is making me really happy. And because I do eat the leaves, and so I wanted the leaves to be really nutritious and healthy. Herbs are really struggling right now. This is way too much heat. I'm not even sure if things are going to survive, but here is the herbs. And here's that Malabar spinach. If you remember the Malabar spinach, I just grew a little bit of it. Look how it's trellising. This trellis, that looks really healthy. I haven't harvested any of that yet. I've just kind of been leaving it alone and letting it grow. Over here, we have our some more beneficial herbs in the pot. Comfrey. Comfrey's doing well. I just learned that the comfrey really is not supposed to stay in a container because the roots need to grow really far down. So I will take this out of the container and put it in ground when I get back. I'm not going to try to do that right now. It's just too hot to do anything that's too manual. Sweet potato slips. So we're growing these, and I'm going to have a second sweet potato patch, but for now these are fine. They look a little white, and that's because I sprinkled them with some DE, and so that's what you see there. It's still healthy. Continuing down this aisle, we have our okra, green okra that I started from seed, and red okra that I started from seed. And I'm really loving the way the red okra is looking. Even though something is kind of chewing on it, it still looks really healthy. I'm going to put some DE on that as well. The green okra is struggling a bit. It's taking its time. But we've got green okra. And then just some flowers. Look at how the flowers are burning up. I mean, it's so hot out here. But I'm hoping that the gladius will bloom. We'll see. I did move that. I transferred it. So we'll see what it does. I never got jalapeno peppers. And I never got the bell peppers. So that is, when you look at the garden, that's kind of the perimeter. So now I'm going to come back and step into the garden so you can kind of see what's happening here in the grow bags. So over here, look, beans. I've actually harvested beans several times, even though they got off to a rough start. I got two different kind of beans growing in here. This little patch right here is really getting ravished by the pole beetles. I just pick them whenever I'm here, but they don't care at all about the DE. I'm sprinkling it and they're just going under the leaves, and so that they're really hard to fight. Also in this space is my cucumber. I was told that over 90 degrees you won't get cucumber. Oh look, there's a think those are called leaf-footed bugs. I'm gonna get some gloves on and grab him. But I was told it was too hot for cucumbers, but I'm starting to see some flowers. So I'm hoping that I will still get a couple of cucumbers. We'll see. We shall see. It's huge though, and it's climbing up this trellis really nicely. So I'm glad that I prepared that in advance so that it would have the trellis. And I just come, when I come, I just kind of encourage it up the trellis. Try to do that somewhat delicately so that it can just continue up the trellis. I am thinking about putting another trellis from here to the arch. Not sure. I might just let this lay. I'm not sure, but it's kind of spilling over. It's so lush and pretty. But look, this is the bug that is causing all the holes in the leaves. I'm just trying to get it and its babies off of my beans, but it's not always easy. So when we go this way, I have sweet baby watermelon coming up in this grow bag. I planted 2 over here. One is doing really well, the other one is not. All I really need is one to do well, and I'm gonna try to trellis it up this arch. Okay, continuing over on this side, we have a watermelon patch. I planted 3 watermelon plants. All of them are doing really well. I'm just trying to encourage one to kind of go this way and the others to go back that way. I really would love if I can get them to kind of go back down that side of the garden. We shall see. But I have a ton of space left for them to grow and kind of take over here. But we have watermelon patch, and I'm starting to see where we will have some watermelon if it doesn't get too hot and dry them up. I'm gonna water and fertilize today. Try not to fertilize when it's like burning too hot, but I am going to be gone for a week, so I want to make sure that I fertilize before I leave. Okay, so let's check out the other side of the garden. So in the towers, not a whole lot going on. The towers gave me a couple of strawberries, but overall I haven't been super impressed by the towers. I still have to learn what to do and what not to do here. They stay really dry. So that's been something, kind of a learning curve for me to try to figure out. Beans actually like the towers, and I may end up next season just making this a bean tower because they really like it and they don't really need a whole lot of water, but they're doing well. Lettuce does okay in here as well. Lettuce still needs water, but it does okay with the shade. Look at my zinnia. Zinnia is just beautiful. It's just taking over. I love it. Over here, I'm trying to encourage the watermelon to trellis this way. That's why I have those wine crates there. Not a finished product. And then the last of the onions that I haven't pulled up are on this side. So as I'm pulling them up, I'm laying this fabric down to try to deter the weeds and just make it look a little bit better. Just have a few more to go. I basically pulled up most of this onion, and I'm storing it or gifting it because it's a lot. Okay, here, nasturtium. I still haven't figured out why you all love nasturtium. I got it because all of the YouTubers had it, and it looks beautiful when they were growing it, but the bugs are not really eating it for me, and I really haven't had many blooms. So, I don't know. It is what it is. We're gonna let it stay. And then here's a little trap crop that I left. Haven't figured out if that is I think it's cabbage. Thought it was cabbage, but then I went to make it and it tastes like collard greens, and it cooked down. It took forever to cook down, so that makes me think it's a collard green. But I did leave that for the bugs, and as you see, the bugs have enjoyed it, and that was my way of kind of keeping them happy so they would leave my other things alone. Here you see we have corn. Planted a plot of sweet corn, you remember? 3 rows of 5. They're looking so dry. I'm seeing another bug. So yeah, I can't wait to get in here and get some bugs. But they're looking really dry. The stalks look dry, and I think they're prematurely dry. I don't think that they are ready to be harvested. I think it's just really hot and they're burning up. So I'm gonna let them stay a bit longer until the cobs feel a little bit more full. But I do have cobs, do have ears of corn. So I'm excited about harvesting them. I think they'll be fine for the week that I'm gone, and then I'll pull them. Over here are my 2 black zucchini plants. I have gotten a ton of zucchini from here. I don't know if we can see any right now because I just harvested some the day before yesterday. When I come here, I kind of cut these leaves back at the stalk so that I can have a walking space right here. And in 2 days, they're big again and they're all over the walkway. So this is a really healthy plant. Let's look down in here and see if we see anything. Nothing right this second. I don't see any zucchini right this second. I also have not seen my my frog has not come back. All right, over here I do have this raised bed on this side, even though this is the in-ground side. And over here I haven't been extremely impressed, but I do have beans that are doing okay. I have 1 patty pan squash in the front that's doing pretty good. The yellow squash hasn't really done anything. It's giving me a couple flowers, but it hasn't done anything. But I'm excited to see what the patty pan gives me. I tried to transplant 1 squash into the ground to see if it would do better, and it died immediately. So whatever I get is whatever I get. And then we have beans. I also have this grow bag that has what we call spoon tomato. It took forever to grow, but now I actually see where there are some flowers. So I'm looking forward to getting those tomatoes. They're really tiny. You're supposed to be able to get like 4 or 5 of them on 1 spoon. So they're tiny. So hopefully I can start harvesting those soon. And then we have pole beans that are growing up the trellis. So let's continue to walk around to Tomato Alley. I put this little bird back out here to help deter some bugs, and I just fill that out whenever I come. Here is my heirloom tomato. If you remember, I grew this from seed in my office, and it is huge now. It is so big, and it's finally giving me some flowers and finally giving me some tomatoes. I'm expecting those to get really big because the tomato that I grew this out of was huge. Move this so I can keep walking. Here is my rescue tomato. This was just a little stick, and someone was throwing it away, and I took it and saved it. And look how big it is now. It's almost as tall as me, and I'm almost 6 feet tall. And it's giving me some tomatoes. I'm actually going to harvest a tomato or 2 for fried green tomatoes. I want to make fried green tomatoes tomorrow. So I'm going to go ahead and take a couple of those while I'm here today. Yeah, that's huge. You can see it next to the corn to get an idea of how big it is. It's really hard for me to show you. And then over here is a cherry tomato plant. It was in between the 2 larger tomatoes. I don't know if you remember, and I replanted it. I moved it over here. It looked really weak and sick for a little while, but it's bounced back, and it's already giving me some tomatoes. Let's see if you can see them. Yeah. So really proud of what Tomato Alley is doing. And again, this is just a trap plant that has a bunch of worms on it, and I'm letting the worms eat that up. And then last but not least are my berries. So I have 2 berry bushes. I've been getting some blackberries. I just harvest them and throw them in a bag. And sometimes I just harvest them and rinse them off and eat them while I'm here. But I have 2 berry plants This one probably won't give me berries this year because I just got this one. But this one is giving me berries. I was packing up and realized that I forgot to show you my peppers. So it's a little bit later now. It's a little darker. Feels a whole lot better out here. I've been out here removing bugs and watering, but I wanted to show you. I have 1, 2 peppers. I don't know if you can see this one over here. I have no idea what peppers they are. I planted 6 peppers and I ended up with 2. This one I relocated. It was somewhere else and I pushed it back here. So I'm waiting for these to actually grow so I can see what the peppers are. So that's, I believe, everything that's growing in the garden in June. So it's burning up hot. What I want to do is plant some potatoes before I leave. I have some red potatoes in container bags and I brought some white potatoes. I think they're russet potatoes that were just in the pantry. I'm going to go ahead and put them in a grow bag before I leave. So I just kind of set them up in here and I'm about to bury them and I'll watch the progress and hopefully when I get back they will have sprouted. But I'm gonna just get that done and everything else is just water and get out of here because it is 100 degrees. It is hot, hot, hot. And my neighbor is out of town and I promised her that I would water for her as well. So I've got 2 large plots to water before I get home. So I will keep you posted. I'll be back in a week to show you the progress. Thanks for watching. Happy gardening.